revolution with a whole lot of truth. Remedy Revolution is here for you. Ooh. And now here's your host, Erin Page.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Remedy Revolution podcast. My name is Erin, and I actually have two guests today. I'm actually really excited to speak with them because, as you all know, I've been speaking about vaccines and vaccine injury for a very, very long time. I've spoken a lot about the COVID-19 vaccine and the injuries that can be caused by it. And today I have two people that very unfortunately and very sadly have actually been particularly affected by the COVID-19 vaccines. And I wanted to hear their stories. I wanted you guys to hear their stories so you understand that there are real people behind these horrific injuries. And I want to make sure that their stories are told and amplified as much as possible. So I am very pleased to announce that I have Ernest Ramirez here, as well as Mona. And Mona, what was your last name?
Hasegawa.
Mona Hasegawa. So both of you have distinct stories of the COVID-19 vaccine. Maybe, Ernest, you'd like to start and tell us a little bit about what your experience was with that vaccine.
Well, like a lot of people already know, I was a single parent. It was just me and my son. And naturally, COVID came around. And, we stayed locked up, locked up in the house. We went out. We did what the lies they told us to do. Sanitizer, face masks, and everything. And I took 2 of the Moderna, which I didn't get any immediate reactions. And my son took 1 of the Pfizer, which caused his death 5 days afterwards. And like I said, I thought it was just something happening to me and my son. I never connected it with the vaccine until I had a reporter come down and interview me. She asked to see all my papers, my son's medical records, autopsy, and she even sent it to Dr. Peter McCullough, who's a dear friend. And, I started speaking out. I was educated on what happened. I didn't know, like I said, I never connected the dots, which a lot of people nowadays don't really want to know that. They don't want to connect it. They just want to continue with life. And I can't. That was my son. That was my best friend. And I needed an answer. So I started speaking out and people were asking me what I was going to do after I spoke at the Capitol here in Texas. And that's when I decided to ride to Washington, D.C. That, Senator Ron Johnson contacted me. He heard about it, asked me what my plans were. And I told him I didn't have any plans. I said, I'm just going to go knock on the gate, see if Biden opens up. I need some answers. And he asked me if I would meet with him. He wanted to talk to me. And after our Zoom call, I said, yes, sir. I drove my motorcycle up there to D.C. just for the attention, And, luckily I had a lot of people donate to help with my trip. So I met him there. And that's when I first spoke with him at the round table. And that day, I realized, waiting in the lobby, it wasn't just me and my son. That's where I met Maddie DeGarry, Steph DeGarry, Brad Dressing, Mona, several other vaccine injured. And then I realized it's not just one person. This is worldwide.
Yeah.
So that's why I started speaking out, fighting back. Like I said, nothing I do or say can bring my son back. But I love my vaccine injured family. And that's why I keep doing this, because I feel I need to fight for them, because nobody's fighting for them. They don't have any medical, financial aid, nothing. The government's not helping it in any way. I tell people it feels like we're trash. They're just sweeping us up to the side, and they keep on doing it. They keep on injecting people, killing kids. It's just a fight that I feel like I have to do. There's no stopping me now. And I've had several incidents that happened along this way. I've had places raided where I was going to be at, but I backed out at the last minute. Like I said, the grace of God, I feel like He's my protector. That's my bodyguard right there. And I've had places raided, had air flights stopped, and just before takeoff, just to see if I was on the plane. Had people come here to my house in the middle of the night when something would wake me up, and I'd just walk outside, and then I'd find somebody out there parked. And, I guess intimidation. They're trying to scare me. And like I said, I've never been scared before. Now in the beginning, we were all afraid of dying. We're all afraid of death. And I no longer am, because I know if something ever happens to me, I'm going to go home and I'll be with my son again. But like I said, to this day, these people cannot scare me. Like I said, too, when I started all this, I registered for FEMA for funeral assistance because I didn't have the finances to bury my son. I had insurance on myself for him, in case something happened to me. I never expected it to be like this. So I filed with FEMA, and FEMA denied me. They asked me for all my paperwork and everything, and I gave it to them. And they told me my son didn't die from COVID. I said, no, it was from that vaccine. And they said, well, we can't help you. So after all this traveling, speaking out, Senator Ron Johnson's roundtable, they called me and offered me $10,000. And I said, no, I don't need that. I said, because my son's already buried. And, I also told him I'm not going to disrespect my son in that way, and I'm not going to falsify paperwork for financial gain. And they harassed me for 2 years. On and off, they raised it up to $35,000. And I said, no, I told them, you can give me the world twice over, and it's not enough, not to fill that empty heart, And so since then, I've been traveling everywhere. I built a trailer with some of my vaccine-injured family on there, too. And now I'm working on my truck, too. I have decals and pictures of my son, and I take it traveling everywhere. It's just, I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I'm trying to do as much as I can. I've been invited to Austria, Philippines to speak out. I have people contacting me from all over the world asking for help. Financially, I can't do it, and what can I do if I do show up? I'm not a politician. I'm no one of importance. I'm just a regular man trying to fight back and try to protect the people, because who's going to do it? Nobody's standing up. Nobody cares. We've gotten to the point now where everybody's trying to get back to a normal life. I don't want to hear about injuries. I don't want to hear about death. It didn't happen to me, so it doesn't matter to me. And the thing you don't realize is it could happen to your child. It could happen to your grandchildren, your niece, your nephew, your family members. And they're not going to say it. And I tell them too, I want to give you the information now. And I don't want you to call me later and say, oh my God, I wish I would have listened. I want you to listen now. Do it now, because this was just a beginning. This was a test. And it's going to come around worse. They're going to attack us even worse, because it wasn't a vaccine. We all know it was a bioweapon. It was made to see how we would respond. If we're going to bow down and, panic like we did and, take whatever they tell us to take. I'm never going to do that again. I don't trust the medical system anymore. I don't trust my government anymore, which, like I said, my son wanted to join the Air Force after graduating. And I've always told him, I'll back you up in anything you want to do. But the same government that my son wanted to fight for has turned their back on him. And that really hurts. That really hurts, because, I was a proud American. I still am. I love my country. I love my people. But I don't care about my government anymore. They can try whatever they want to try, but I will not respond to them in any way. And like I said, that's just a battle I feel like I have to do until, it's time for me to go home. I mean, I even lost my job a couple of months ago. I'm pretty sure it's because I'm speaking out too much and I'm getting too much attention, which is fine. Like I said, One door closes, another opens, and it's just an opportunity. Now, a dear friend of mine, Dr. Molly James with the James Clinic, she heard about me getting laid off, and she asked me to work for her as a patient advocate. So now that's what I do. I travel to the different sites, different clinics all over the country, and it gives me a chance to actually meet a lot more vaccine injured face to face. And, like I said, it's a blessing. I don't take anything negative because I don't care. Nobody's attacked me negative in any negative way. It's always been with open arms and, blessings one way or another. And I have to continue this way. Like I said, I love my vaccine injured family and I feel for them. I wish I could do more for them, but it takes money. Believe it or not, it takes a lot of money because these treatments are not cheap. I know this because I see little Maddie's face. I see Mona. I see Bree. I see Jesse Sutter, who became a real good friend of mine also. It's expensive. And a lot of these people can't afford it. And there's no help in sight.
Right. Yeah. Well, Ernest, I think, just by speaking out and by making sure your son's story is heard, I think it's helpful. I think it's helped many people to come to terms with the fact that they thought that they were doing the right thing by getting the vaccine. And unfortunately, it did not work out well for a large portion of the population. And so I'd like to get, Mona, your story, if you're willing to share with us. So how did this journey begin for you?
Well, first I wanted to thank Ernest for being such a great advocate for the vaccine injured, and none of our injuries could compare to his loss of his son. And I just want to thank him for that and for you to give us the opportunities to share our stories. And my journey started on April 24th of 2021. I decided I was going to get vaccinated because of the fact that my dad was a dialysis clinic patient in Canada. And they were telling him that you couldn't come to the clinic to get dialysis if everybody around him wasn't vaccinated. And I wanted to really visit my dad in Canada. And so I was like, okay, I'll do it if I get to see my dad. And the funny part was that me, my girlfriend, and my daughter, we went to a CVS maybe an hour away so that we could actually get the visor, because they were advertising that visor was one of the best ones to get. And I kind of fell into what the media was saying. And I took my chances of getting vaccinated. And I actually even stayed at the CVS, and, they make you stay a half an hour to see if you have any side effects. And then I actually stayed at another 15 minutes before I left to make sure that nothing was happening. But then on our way home, we decided that we are going to stop by Cracker Barrel for a meal. And then I had to go to the bathroom. And then when I went to the bathroom, I had a glitch, I couldn't tell my brain to move my legs. And that was the first symptom. And my heart started to kind of palpitate. And so we left the restaurant, and then I went back home, and then the next couple of days it was flu-like symptoms, and I was like, oh, this is the flu-like symptoms that they told us that we're gonna get. I started getting joint pains. I was fatigued, but then this didn't end up to be just flu-like symptoms. My legs started getting weaker. They felt like elephant trunks. I ended up asking my daughter if she could take me to get a cane. And she's like, Mom, why do you need a cane? I felt like I needed support when I walked. And I was actually at a local mall when I collapsed. And I laid down on the floor and I said, please, can you call 911? And I remember the time where I was laying down and I was looking around thinking, all my life, all the hardship that I have had in my life, is this the way I'm going to go? Laying down in a mall with people's feet passing by, and then the ambulance came they took me to the hospital, and basically the hospital kind of like sent me home because they did their basic testing, right? And nothing was really showing up. Inflammations were high. Liver count was like a little off. My white blood cell levels were off. My ANA was positive. But there's like, it's almost like you're one off of everything. So they were going to discharge me. But they discharged me with not even a wheelchair, no walker. So when I got home, I had to get on my hands and knees and crawl, like army style, like when you're moving with your arms. Had to get up the porch, went into my bedroom. The way that I was moving was my daughter put me in a bed sheet, and she'll pull the bed sheet on the floor because I didn't have a walker or anything ready, because we didn't know this was going to happen so quickly. And ever since, like, it's been like crazy. My life has turned upside down within this 3 years, almost 4 years of my life. I can't work. I can't. It's hard for me to. I was a single mother. I'm a mother of a 13-year-old. I do have an older daughter, but she just recently had a child, and I'm a grandmother now. I can't be the grandmother or mother that I used to be. Even taking my daughter back to school shopping. I have to contemplate, do I take my scooter? Am I going to be okay? I have to put myself with medication. But I've been even kicked out of Mount Sinai Hospital in New York City. When I told them I'm vaccine injured, they called security on me. Where at first when I came in, they thought I was having a stroke. So it's been a really long road. I did get a diagnosis of CIDP, small fiber neuropathy, dysautonomia, POTS.
Mhm.
And they say possible MG, like it's like no one really knows what to do with us because there's just not enough studies.
Right.
I did go to I was doing well for a little bit when I was seeing a applied kinesiologist. He did a couple of stomach adjustments on me and like
Mhm.
near my diaphragm area. That was helping, but unfortunately, like everything that works for us, or not works, like it's not a cure, but will relieve our symptoms just a little bit, do cost a lot of money.
Mhm.
We don't have money. We haven't gotten compensated. People are struggling to even get disability. For myself, I'm a permanent resident, so I don't even qualify for disability. So financially, like it's like my girlfriend and my daughter have been helping me for the treatment, to pay for the treatments and stuff. React 19 has helped me through their care funds to get my scooter, to be mobile and more independent. I tried hyperbaric oxygen, and there's a lot of medical bills that I needed to pay. And so I mean, I think there's different stages of like this, going through this vaccine injury. And I think I'm at the acceptance part
Mhm.
where like, like you accept that you're like this possibly forever. So I try to appreciate like the good days and try to be positive. And, I at the beginning, I had a habit of saying I'm dying because this is exactly how I felt. I feel like I'm dying every day. But if I keep on saying that I'm dying, I could probably put that into existence. So I really don't want to keep on saying it, and I try to stay positive, even though like I see such terrible things and I hear terrible things over and over again by hundreds of vaccine injured people here in the United States. But I'm hoping and praying that help comes soon because our injured people are struggling, and some of them have already committed suicide. Some of them are getting put in nursing homes, losing their kids, their house, everything. They've lost everything. So I hope somebody out there will be listening that could help us get, just admit that these things could have bad side effects. That's all we
Right.
want to hear. So we could get some medical help. Do I trust Western medicine? No, I don't trust Western medicine anymore, because it's like I've learned a lot through my journey.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the positive things, is that it opened my eyes to the truth. And I would have never known any of this information that I know now if it wasn't for me being injured. So I'm grateful that I can get my grandson the proper care that he needs for him, because now I know about vaccine injuries and what are the possibilities of what could happen to a child. You know, I ended up also getting symptoms like autism. I don't know if I have autism. I have sensitive hearing. So even when the baby cries, I have to put out the ear things. I blink a lot, eye tics, and sunglasses, you know, because the sun hits my eyes a lot. But I've been trying to keep the sunglasses off, because I was told by one of the holistic doctors that if I deprive myself my eyes from the sun, that could be a negative thing too. So I kind of try to stick it out with the eye sensitivity things, because at the beginning I was always wearing sunglasses, you know. So yeah.
Well, your journey has been really horrific, but it's so nice to hear that you are finding the light. You know, both of you are really doing everything in your power to find the good, and to connect with others who are like-minded, and people who will really support you along this journey. Mona, you mentioned something that I wanted to touch on. So a lot of people feel as though, well, if you were truly injured, then you would get compensation from the government. Being somebody who has been in the autism community for a very long time and witnessed many additional vaccine injuries prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, I'll say, many mothers sought compensation from the Vaccine Injury Compensation Program for traditional childhood vaccines. However, that program is not valid for the COVID-19 vaccines because they were under emergency use authorization and a number of other regulatory issues. Did you ever seek out compensation, Mona, or was that something that you just didn't even have the energy or time to take care of?
I actually signed up for the CIDP. No, sorry, CICP.
Yeah.
Is that what it's called? Yeah, I'm sorry. CICP, and before the year was done, actually like 2 days before my year was up, because I was like, even if nothing happens, let me just, apply. I haven't heard anything from them. The VAERS is still playing around with my case, saying that the hospital's not getting back to us with your information. We've been doing this for 3 years now, you know? So I kind of like gave up on that. I mean, compensation would be great, right? But to relieve the stress that could cause on us while being injured, right? But nothing will ever bring back my life the way that I was able to enjoy my life, you know? So it's a hard topic, but I hope help comes, because money for shelter, treatments that are not covered under insurance, because most of the treatments that work is not covered by insurance. So which would mean that we would need out-of-pocket money. So,
the sad part about it, a lot of these doctors are offering assisting these injured the opportunity of death rather than instead of paying them, helping them pay their medical.
Yeah, it's a still
there. Yeah. So I mean, that's just a way. Well, let's just get rid of this person, and we don't have to worry about them anymore. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people are, they're going through so much pain and suffering on a daily basis, emotionally, because, to be honest, each and every one of us, the ones that have lost, the ones that are injured, we have been pushed aside, not just by society, not just by the medical, but by some of their own family too. I mean, that's bad. We're living in solitary. The only time we get together is we're in an event, or I do spaces on X sometimes just to gather the people together, because everyone needs to know that they're not crazy. They're not alone. We're all here in it together, and we're trying to fight back the system that put us in our position that we're in. And I've told people too, like we're talking about all this medical treatment that everyone needs. They don't have the money, or it's too far. They don't have the transportation, or they can't travel that far. And I was throwing an idea around, if I could find a way to get some money, I was thinking we need to get some type of mobile clinic where we can travel around the U.S. Instead of having somebody riding around, sign this, sign my bus, sign my truck, whatever. Hell, let's get a mobile clinic together and have everybody get some type of treatment. It might not be on a regular basis every day, but at least we can get them some type of treatment, every once a month or once every 2 months, but just get something out there for some people. But like I said, I don't have to do this. I can just sit back and, let the world take care of themselves. But I'm trying to figure out ways of helping. That's our government should be doing this. They have the money. How many was the first shipment of 400 billion that they sent overseas? You know what I could do with that money? I could make clinics, build clinics, different parts of the U.S. just to get my vaccine injured some treatment. Heck, you're giving money out to nations that are fighting against us, don't respect us, and really don't care about us. Why don't you give it to the people that need it? Us here in the U.S. Take care of your house first before you go help somebody else.
Right. Yeah. And even from the provider side, so many of the providers, I can speak for myself and from my own experience, I charge a reasonable rate, and I would love to be able to help everybody as much as possible. But, I also need to pay my own bills as well. And if I could do that, I absolutely 100% would. But, a lot of these providers rely on cash payments, for example, because our treatments aren't covered by insurance, like you said. And so it puts us, all of us in a very difficult position where the funding just isn't there for the treatments that are actually seriously helping people. So, it's such a mess. And I think there are so many parallels between what was going on with children who had been vaccine injured for a very long time, and mothers speaking out. I will say, the COVID vaccines have really woken up so many people. They've really awoken a monster at this point. Pharma has, because it has not only emboldened and brought in new people to the conversation, but it has allowed parents of children with autism to really speak out about their own vaccine injuries without, certainly there's still tons of censorship, but it's a more acceptable conversation than it had been in the past. And, I know, Ernest, you mentioned things about when you speak out, people, perhaps following you, or and certainly that has been the experience of many of the parents that I'm in contact with as well throughout the autism epidemic. And I in no way am diminishing the COVID-19 vaccine injuries whatsoever, but I do think it has been very eye-opening for the rest of the country that has not experienced or understood why these parents were trying to speak out about vaccines and their potential dangers. And I think, like you said before, one of the most important points here is that clearly neither one of you were, quote unquote, anti-vaxxers before any of this, right? And that's what parents have been trying to say for such a long time, that it's not like we went into this as an anti-vaxxer. We were very pro vaccine. In fact, we took the vaccines, we took our children to take the vaccines, and they were injured. So why don't we talk about the safety? Why don't we talk about what is happening? Certainly, maybe there's a conversation that needs to happen around the potential of injury and the risk versus the benefits. But ultimately, I can only applaud you both for continuing to speak out, for letting people know what is going on. And despite your own suffering, I think the world is going to be a better place because you are continuing to speak. So thank you very much for what you're doing.
Wow.
Thank you.
So, all right. So how can we help the two of you, and how can we help the vaccine injured currently? I know, Ernest, you have a website. Perhaps you do as well, Mona. So if you would let our listeners know how we might be able to help each of you or the community at large.
Well, I have their website and I have a Give, Send, Go. The money that is donated, I mean, it was going good at first. It slowed down, but that money is, like I said, not for me to buy a new car or to buy a new house. That is to pay my travel expenses, fuel, hotels, whatever, just so I can get out there. Cause I'm getting invitations. Would you please come over here? Would you come over here to meet us? And I'd love to be everywhere. I'd love to keep that truck on the road 24/7. But like I said, I have my give, send, go on there. Or people that do want to actually help the injured can actually donate to React 19 also. They have, that's where money gathers up, and they give out care funds to, people. It's not like a lot of money, rolling in either. But they giving out $10,000 grants to different individuals for, help to help them with whatever they need, medical or, their house or, whatever. Like I said, I know there's some people with good hearts out there and are better off than what we all are. And like I said, I'm not asking you to buy me a car. I'm not asking you to buy me a boat. I'm asking you to help. That's all, to help you. You don't have to go to me. Go to when you're injured. They're all over the world. So it's not like you can't find a vaccine injured person. That's why I tell people too, this has been going on for years. We're just starting to open our eyes up now. After COVID came around, we had that SADS all of a sudden hit, sudden adult death syndrome. And I started thinking, what? Now that everybody's getting vaccinated, now we're coming up with SADS? That had me thinking about, okay, back in the day we had SIDS, sudden infant death syndrome. That was due to the vaccine also, the childhood vaccines. So all this information is starting to come out now to reality, and people need to open their eyes and look, this is actually what's going on, what they're doing to us. And I tell people, to me, it's a nightmare. It's like that movie, The Matrix. Somebody woke me up, and now, to be honest, I wish I would be put back to sleep. I wish I didn't know anything that I know. I feel like I know too much, but there's no going back. All we can do is keep going forward until the good Lord takes us home. So there's a fight I have to, stay in until it's over with. But like I said, there's React 19. If you want to help the vaccine injured, there's our Gold Fund to help us financially. Mona with her medical, me just with travel expenses. If you, like I said, $20, you can't even buy a decent lunch. But if everyone donates $20, can you imagine how much help you could do? I mean, Mona, if you want to give me your fundraiser, please do that too. That way you can get you some help also.
Yeah, Mona, is there a specific place people can visit?
I actually had a GoFundMe a long time ago. I don't know if it's still up there. I haven't made anything regarding anything GoFundMe or anything. I was thinking about opening one soon, but unfortunately I don't. But if it would really help if they could help Ernest actually travel expenses so that he could get the word out, and he could talk to maybe somebody that could help, that would be really good for the vaccine injured. And also if React has helped with their care funds to get money out to the vaccine injured individually for their personal care. So that would be good as well.
Sure. And looking forward, Mona, what do you have a treatment that you're looking into that you would like to try?
I would like to see a holistic care provider that could possibly direct me to the right way of possibly getting these heavy metals or whatever's in my body with my neurological issues and stuff and my adrenal gland issues. But I don't have the money for that. So
Sure.
It's very difficult, Yeah. So
Yeah,
as far
absolutely.
as future treatment plans, I don't really have one, except for I get my IV fluids every other week at the hospital. Yeah.
Yeah, so if anyone listening is interested in helping Mona, you can reach out here, and I am more than happy to send them your way, Mona. All right, so I want to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. I know the two of you have been through immense struggles, but I do think that fun and joy is really the best medicine that we could ever offer. So I've come to the part in our podcast where we ask the 8 rapid fire questions of our guests. I'll ask the question and then I'll allow you both some time to answer. How's that sound?
Sure, sounds
All right. All right. Number 1, if you could choose only one natural remedy for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Go ahead, Mona, because I had nothing.
Sorry. Natural remedy.
To get back to life, back to family.
Well, that's a hard question. I'm sorry.
That's
Natural
okay.
love. How about that? For people
That's
to love each
perfect.
other.
Love is perfect. All right. Number 2, tell us something most people don't know about you.
That I can't answer either. I'm the type that I tell the truth. I'm straight out. Anybody ask me a question, that's why I tell people, don't be afraid, because I will answer you honestly. I mean, I used to love life. It's not the same no more. I used to like fishing, camping. I can't seem to bring myself to go fishing anymore because that's something me and my son would do. But other than that, I mean, like I said, I tell everybody, I have faith still. People don't, I didn't turn to alcohol or drugs through everything I've been through. But I just want everybody to know that I do still have faith in my good Lord and Savior. And that's number 1. And I want everybody else to do the same. Get closer to God, because it's going to get worse. This was just a test, and I don't wish it on anybody. But, love your children. That's the best. That's the happiness right there. Let them know you love them. And, because I'll never have that hug again. I'll never hear that, Dad, I love you. But, like I said, anything anyone asks me, I always tell them straight out. So it's all out there in the open. Anytime I'm asked a question.
How about you, Mona? Anything most people don't know about you?
That would probably be that I'm interested in going to get my master herbalist course. Because of the fact that everything that I've gone through in my experience actually kind of moved me over to the more natural care. And I would like to learn more. So this is something that I'm possibly going to be starting school possibly next month.
Nice.
Online. Yes.
All right. And if I were to compile a playlist of happy music, what song would you suggest be added?
We're bad at this, right, Ernest?
I have several, and
Oh yeah, you do. The ones that you
yes,
sent me, a couple you sent me. Yeah.
uh, they're all worship music. I have so many.
Danny Goki.
Yeah, that's another one. There's so many to look up. Unspoken also is another good group. Like I don't know, ma'am, if you I have my truck. I have decal pictures of my son all over it. I normally had my neighbor's son come booming his truck down the neighborhood, setting off alarms, and they gave me the idea where I put a sound system in my truck. But like I said, I listen to worship music, and so I will turn it up. I want people to see the truck, and I want people to hear my worship music. It brings me at ease, no matter what the day is going, what's happening, the depression, worship music always picks me up. So there's several out there. And like I said, like she mentioned, Danny is one, Unspoken is another group. There's several of them. I can put a whole list together because I do have a playlist that I listen to every day.
Nice. Well, I'd love to post that. How about you, Mona?
I've been listening to Danny Goki a lot. I don't know. I've never really been into like religion and stuff. And I know there's a God, but like I've never actually been religious until I got injured. And if you feel like you're dying and stuff, there's no one that's gonna be there for you. And it's only like between you and God, basically. And he did give me a second chance to be alive right now. So some of the music I listen to, I don't know what the name is of it, but my whole playlist became like things about life, everything churches,
There's one song I don't know if I sent to you. It's called Hold On.
Yeah.
Hold On by Kirk Franklin. No matter what you're going through, just hold on. And there's light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, you have to send that one to me. We send each other music sometimes, so like it keeps us motivated, and the songs mean a lot to like each word, is very touching. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So what is your favorite guilty pleasure?
I
Chocolate cake.
Yeah.
Chocolate cake.
Yeah, sugar that I'm not supposed to be having with my health issues. That's been one of the hardest things, right? Sugar, very addictive.
Yeah. All right. Well, number 5 is, what is the most influential book you've ever read?
I don't read. I'm not going to lie. I have several books that have been given to me along the way, and I just haven't had a chance. I've had groups that read it to me, which is a good book. I think everyone should read. Turtles All the Way Down.
Yeah.
A lot of information in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Zoe's been on the show, Zoe O'Toole.
Yes, well, but they read it, on a group we have, and it's a good book. That was probably one of the last ones I listened to.
I think mine is a lifetime. Sorry, I forgot what the title was. A Lifetime to Pay, I think, by Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Some of like 9 people's vaccine injury stories were in there, and one of my my story was in one of the stories that's in the book, and I read all the injury stories, and they're very similar. So I just found like a connection in when you think you're like losing your mind, or you're thinking when the doctors tell you, oh no, this could be psychological or something like this, you feel like you're not alone because you're reading about like each person who have similar symptoms as you. And the funny part is that most of us injured people have the same diagnosis, which is,
Right.
So sorry, I'm getting off topic.
No, that's all right. All right. What does the word revolution mean to you?
Freedom.
Yeah, freedom as well.
And what does the word remedy mean to you?
Well, I guess happiness would be it.
Remedy would mean for us to feel more peace in our hearts.
Yeah. And then the last question, if you could impart one piece of wisdom on to our listeners, what would that be?
Turn off the TV.
It would be, if you're injured, don't give up. And I still feel like there is hope. And so try to stay positive.
Absolutely.
Keep the faith.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it has been so wonderful to speak with you both. I really do hope that we can share these stories, amplify your voices, get people to really understand what's going on behind the scenes. I've been at this for almost 2 years now with regard to the podcast and trying to speak to as many people who will listen. But it's not easy. And certainly those that are dealing with injuries and the unfortunate passing of their loved ones, it's hard to sometimes get out of bed. It's hard to do the things that you need to do. And so, for both Ernest and Mona for being here today, I know that takes a huge amount of effort to discuss their stories, and even through all the pain that they're going through currently. So thank you both for being here. All of our listeners, you can visit the show notes below. I always post all of those links that we discussed. And please, 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 if you can, if you are blessed with ample wealth, then please assist those who've been injured by the COVID vaccines and all vaccines, frankly. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care.